If you search used aircraft listings today, you can find a sleek, 4-seat Robinson R-44 helicopter listed for around $150,000. For an executive or private pilot, that looks like an unbelievable bargain for a real 4-seat aircraft that cruises at 110 knots. But thousands of first-time buyers fall into a devastating financial trap the second they sign the bill of sale. They fail to look at a small metal data plate stamped right inside the engine compartment. That data plate tracks a strict, non-negotiable 12-year countdown clock mandated by the factory and federal regulators. The moment that clock hits zero, the helicopter is legally grounded, requiring a forced mechanical teardown that costs more than the purchase price of the aircraft itself. Over the next 10 minutes, we will break down the true line-item math of owning the world's most popular private helicopter. From fuel burn and insurance rates to the exact overhaul secrets every buyer must know. To understand why Frank Robinson designed the R-44, you have to look at the massive gap in the private aviation market during the late 1980s. Go back to 1988. Picture a private pilot standing in a flight school hangar, looking at the available choices for 4-seat vertical travel. On one side sat small 2-seat trainers like the Robinson R-22, which were nimble and cheap to operate, but completely useless if you wanted to fly with family or carry real baggage. On the other side sat turbine-powered machines like the Bell 206 Jet Ranger. The Bell was a capable, reliable machine, but it carried a brand-new purchase price approaching $1 million. Its turbine engine consumed massive amounts of expensive Jet A fuel even while idling on the tarmac, and private maintenance shops charged astronomical labor fees to work on it. Frank Robinson realized that middle-tier executives, private operators, and small flight schools were desperate for a simple, piston-powered 4-seater that could match turbine cruise speeds without requiring a $1 million corporate charter account. He set out to build a light machine that balanced utility with piston economics, but he engineered a strict maintenance life cycle that catches unsuspecting buyers completely off guard. The Robinson design team answered this market demand by taking the basic teetering two-blade rotor architecture of the R-22 and scaling it up into an aerodynamically sleek, 4-place cabin. The airframe is built around a lightweight steel tubing structure wrapped in aluminum and composite skin panels, keeping the empty weight down to roughly 1,400 pounds. Let us break down the engine and drive system deeply. Instead of an expensive turbine, the R-44 Raven II relies on a massive, 6-cylinder fuel-injected Lycoming O540 piston engine. This engine produces 245 horsepower, giving the aircraft plenty of muscle to lift 4 adults and full fuel out of hot or high-altitude airports. To keep weight down and avoid heavy hydraulic pumps, early models used purely mechanical pushrod controls. However, modern Raven II variants feature a light hydraulic assist system that completely eliminates cyclic control feedback, allowing the pilot to fly with light fingertip pressure on the stick. The main rotor blades are constructed with a stainless steel leading edge and aluminum skin panels, featuring a high-inertia tip mass that provides crucial rotational inertia during emergency auto-rotation maneuvers. The entire design is built around absolute manufacturing simplicity, reducing parts count to lower everyday maintenance needs. The real test of the R-44's structural layout and safety systems occurred following a series of regulatory updates in the early 2010s regarding fuel tank integrity. Early production models utilized rigid aluminum fuel tanks mounted directly behind the rear passenger seats. During hard landings or dynamic rollover accidents, the rigid fuel tanks were vulnerable to cracking along welded seams, allowing volatile high-octane aviation fuel to spill onto hot engine components. The Federal Aviation Administration and global safety boards issued urgent directives, demanding a structural fix to protect passenger safety. Robinson engineers responded by completely redesigning the fuel system, replacing the rigid aluminum tanks with flexible, high-strength synthetic bladders enclosed inside double-walled metal shells. The factory issued a mandatory service bulletin requiring all existing aircraft to undergo bladder fuel tank retrofits. During subsequent crash testing and real-world off-field emergency landings, The flexible bladder tanks held their fluid integrity under massive G-force impacts, flexing upon contact with dirt and debris without rupturing. This engineering fix drastically reduced post-impact fire risks across the entire fleet, proving that the light airframe could evolve to meet strict modern safety standards. When you break down the actual financial ledger of owning a Robinson R-44, the numbers reveal why doing your math ahead of time is critical. A brand new factory-fresh R-44 Raven II carries a base price tag of roughly $650,000. On the operational side, the Lycoming engine burns approximately 15 to 16 gallons of high-octane 100 low-lead aviation fuel per hour, translating to roughly $80 to $90 an hour in direct fuel burn. Annual inspection costs run between $3,000 and $5,000, while full hull insurance for a mid-time private pilot averages $12,000 to $18,000 per year. Then comes the 12-year or 2,200-hour overhaul rule. Under factory maintenance manuals, every R-44 must undergo a total mechanical rebuild every 12 years, regardless of whether the aircraft flew 2,000 hours or only 200 hours. A full factory overhaul kit, which replaces the engine, main rotor blades, transmission, gearbox, and pitch controls, bills out at over $300,000. That means an owner must set aside roughly $140 in an escrow account for every single hour flown, just to cover the inevitable overhaul invoice down the road. The Robinson R-44 stands as an indisputable titan of general aviation history. It opened up four-seat vertical mobility to thousands of private pilots, charter companies, electronic news-gathering teams, and police units who could never afford the heavy purchase prices of turbine platforms. It remains the most produced light helicopter of the modern era because it strikes a precise balance between performance, speed, and piston efficiency. If an owner manages their overhaul reserves discipline, it offers unmatched personal utility. While the R-44 conquered the private piston market with two-blade simplicity, other designers were looking at high-stakes military reconnaissance, attempting to take that exact same lightweight philosophy and build a high-speed combat scout for infantry support. To see how the Bell OH-58 Kiowa Warrior fought on the extreme front lines of desert warfare before being retired in favor of advanced attack gunships, click on the video on your screen right now. Drop a comment if you would own an R-44 and make sure you hit subscribe. See you tomorrow.